What is going on, everybody? I participated in the grand opening of the MTG Spellslingers official LGS tournaments, and I took first place. Let's talk about it. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Rexrora, and if you're new here we do all things Magic and Magic Spellslingers. I recently won my first tournament, so that's a pretty big milestone for me. But before we get talking about that, if you are enjoying the content, remember, like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really helps me out, and I'm really trying to, kind of raise some notoriety for Spellslingers and get the word out, which I'll talk about with this tournament in just a second. But yeah, really helps the channel out, so please consider that. But yeah, so over the weekend, I think actually Thursday or Friday, I came upon this tournament that was happening. I think either through some of the Discords, or I don't even remember actually. I think I assumed through Discord. Yeah, so I figure, I'm not doing anything over the weekend. I'll just kind of check it out. And then I realized there's actually a lot more than just a single tournament. So this is the MTG Spellslingers official LGS Discord, being run by, I believe, the people are Tenkaichi and Boss Blaze and Carmen people. I think also, I don't think he's online, but Tim, what's his actual username? It's Tim, or Long Tim, right, of course. Is running, operating this Discord as well. So, and basically the goal, from what they state, is that they are trying to, kind of create a community that is kind of functioning as an LGS, a local game store. If you play Magic, which I assume most people here do, then you're familiar with the local game store experience of, having this kind of community that you go into. Everyone's kind of playing. Some people, are maybe playing more competitive games. Maybe people are just kind of hanging out. And then also you have your regular events and things like that. You kind of know generally the vibe. And so I thought this was really great. It's awesome to see the Spellslingers community really staying close knit and being committed to kind of creating a positive experience for people. So I wanted to really support this. So part of my, I guess, objective with participating in this tournament was to make a video like this, get the word out about this Discord, and get people excited for events like this, because I am really excited about tournaments kind of starting up. It gives me, stuff to talk about. It gives, interesting formats. So yeah. So now let's kind of talk about the format. So here's the, kind of the page that they made for the actual tournament. It was single elimination, but the big thing here is that it was 3 starter decks. And it might be running why would they do that? Why would they run a starter deck tournament? That seems kind of weird, almost kind of boring. But it actually makes a lot of sense when you consider that they're trying to bring in new people. They want to see if this format is exciting, or at least playable. And so, because if that is the case, then all, people have to do in order to start participating in these tournaments is unlock 3 planeswalkers. Obviously, that's not literally it, but obviously they have to be a little bit more comfortable with the game, maybe have a selection of planeswalkers to pick through, but it's not like they have to, spend a crap ton of money and buy all the mythics or whatever, right? And people don't have to worry about it. I know some people were trying to do some deck building with the new Planeswalker Davriel. They don't have enough copies of Death Shadow, or they don't have enough copies of this other card or whatever, right? So there are still these kinds of issues when having a game like this and wanting to run tournaments. So I definitely thought it was an interesting idea, and it also was pretty fun, I will say. I thought it was still entertaining, especially for me, where I feel like I got to showcase my skill. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I got to showcase my skill, in Spellslingers. So yeah, classic best of 3, and single elimination, which is kind of scary. Just, you lose one game and you lose one match and you're just out. I will say that aspect to me isn't that exciting. I kind of hope that at some point we start doing more like Swiss style, or double elimination maybe, or something where it's not just I felt really bad for some people who just so my first match was against LOL QOP, and they just kind of were out the first round. So that it is rough if you kind of try to devote some time to it and you just scrub out. So yeah, but yeah. So the one thing that they didn't mention though is that there was a specific order in the way that you declared your planeswalkers, your spellslingers, and those were the next use. So like, you know, I think I didn't realize that, and I put my 3 planeswalkers in the chat, not realizing that I had locked in essentially which order I was going to do. I think looking back, I actually still would have done this order, and I'll explain that, but I didn't know that going in. So like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but like, you know, just if they run a basically the same event, just be aware. But yeah, no, it was really interesting. It wasn't that long. It took, you know, maybe a couple hours. I think we started at 1. We were done about like, you know, 5. So that's a fairly reasonable time to have a tournament like this. This is also only, this was 32 people? I actually don't know. How many is this? This looks like something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, 32 people. So, yeah, I thought that was a good size as well. I don't know if we're ever going to do like large 100 plus people tournaments. I think we're a ways off from that. But I think if they start doing events like this regularly, I think that'll be a great little thing for us to do. Yeah, I think that's all I was going to say about the format. I guess I'll talk about my decks next, and then after that, I'll kind of go through the actual video. I have my stream recap, or my vlog ready, and I will we'll probably just like look through that. I'll do my best. It'll be a lot of footage, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out. But let's talk about the decks first. All right, so let's go over, you know, kind of my thought process, I guess, for my lists, and you know, discussing them, and you know, the order that I put them in. Again, I think I would probably still do this order. I don't know. Maybe I would have changed it up, but anyways. So yeah. So first of all, the couple of things that I was looking for when deciding what to play in this format, because you have to understand we have. You know, we could not make any changes to the starter decks. You had to click this button, or, you know, right, from any of these. And so you're pretty much locked into whatever it is. What was I going to say? So I was looking for a couple of things based on that. So number 1 was removal. As you can see, some of these colors, I think I was looking at the Gideon deck and seeing its removal was non-existent, besides I think a Smite the Monstrous, and that just was playable to me. It didn't matter how many like effective creatures or like, if you know, efficient flyers, whatever you had, right? I just was not going to put myself in that position to just have my opponent play something and me just being like, well, can't deal with it, guess I'll die. So right, Armor Angel is a good card though, so like I was very, you know, I'll go over that as well, but like otherwise I was basically not going to play a deck like this. Right? Think about if my opponent plays an Armored Angel and I don't have one, like, and this is my only answer in the deck. It's like, what do I do against it? I just die. So yeah, I think something like that. I think Jace also was like out of the question. Their answer was like Repulse. Oh, I guess they had Shell Game, so maybe I could have played something like Jace, but their threats at the top end were pretty weak. So right, so like, you know, these are kind of the things that I'm looking for. Nissa, I think, had very little stuff, right? Their kind of, you know, mid game plan is mid, and then their top end threats were like the diving Hellkite, like this card's garbage, right? So that was the primary consideration. And you know, kind of going with that was also the power of the signature cards, because one of the things that a lot of the structure decks ran similar cards, right? You have things like a lot of the green decks had Grudge Match, a lot of them had Spiked Baloth or stuff like that, the Leotao, right? These are things that are going to be common in a lot of the different green decks. I think they had Spiked Baloth and Leotao, right? So like Garruk is basically the same as Nissa. The main difference is the signature spells. So I'm or cards. And so I'm looking at these and trying to make a determination of how good are these. So that's one of the main reasons why Garruk was one of the planeswalkers that I decided on. The three signature spells that they had were absolutely fantastic, right? Curse Bearer just being an efficient creature, and hey, remember when I said removal? This is removal. This is often just a 2-for-1, sometimes a 3-for-1, or something like that. And a worst case scenario, it's a 5-mana 5/4, or something like that. So yeah, these two cards were a big boon to Garruk, in my opinion. And then Curse Bearer was just a good card. Right, and so then kind of going along with that, right, it had Flagrant Foul, it had Grudge Match, it had a bunch of these things, and then also just had efficient threats in things like P-Foul, Curse Dread, or Colossal Dreadmaw, and Briarhorn, which are all pretty playable cards on their own. So yeah, this deck really impressed me, and kind of going along with that, it was nice to play the new Planeswalker. I came out, a couple, maybe a day or two before the tournament happened, so we didn't have a lot of time to play around with the ability. Actually, the ability was something that I actually think I wasn't using too well in the beginning of the tournament, and slowly got better as the day went on, which we might see in my video, or in the replays of some of the games. But yeah. So that was the first deck, and then we move on to a more classical pick, which was actually, I'm gonna do these slightly out of order because I want to talk about Teferi last. But this is my ringer, or my my kind of guy at the end of the line here to kind of tie down the matchups, which was Kiora. This is like kind of the go-to best deck, or kind of just standard like good deck that you could play in the tournament. I think a lot of people had this in their three. Sorry, I gotta breathe. And so yeah, I'm again, primarily because of that is these signature cards, right? Tide Shaper is fantastic, Dragonder fantastic, Octopummeler absolute house, just 6 mana 8/8, did a lot in the events. But also, again, just the big thing with Kiora was just the fact that you just ramped and you played big things, some of which were very hard to deal with, like the Komodo and the Mega Piranha, right? While also having something like a Shell Game and Grudge Matches to facilitate, this game plan. So, and also, by the way, I will say I played the Kiora. There's one of these earlier matchups where I played the Kiora Mirror, and I just beat down. I just played like Archer into Tusker into Frostlings, and just said attack, right? So like that's not something to be ignored either. But yeah, Kiora was definitely a powerhouse. That's not interesting, so that's why I want to talk about it. I'll talk about the order right next. But yeah, Teferi was the last one that I decided upon for a couple of reasons. Number one, card advantage, right? So the outwit ability just inherently providing card advantage, meaning that I'll just naturally have more cards, than my opponents as the game goes on. And you might say, hey, wait, Teferi's Acolyte just got nerfed, fairly recently. Same thing with Absorb. Yes, but also they're still just good. Both of these cards did a lot of work. And then the other thing that I was going to mention in things that I was looking for in Planeswalkers or decks was the ability to get cards from outside of the game. So Teferi Staff getting the ability to just get a card that isn't normally in my deck, for example, a rare trap like Immolating Glare, would just be absolutely fantastic. That happened a couple of times throughout the game. There's one mana short that I also ended up playing that just really accelerated my ability to win the game. So yeah, the worst card in here I think was like Chapelgeist, which is like, it's bad, but like not terrible. So yeah, and then so the thing going along with that is I wasn't expecting people to and correctly expecting people to be able to play around one the a controlling strategy or a controlling mindset, right, where I'm not really trying to beat down my opponent too much or kill all their stuff, but more just trying to control the board, tempo them out, and gradually put myself in a winning position. And then also playing around traps, right? Disorient and Absorb were cards that frequently disrupted my opponent's plays and coming at a key moments. I'll showcase a couple of those. And then also, lastly, one of the things that helped me win the finals was just flyers. Just flyers. Just going turn 2 Welkin turn into a Call the Wind or a Chapelgeist was often just enough to just win the game by just playing a bunch of ground creatures. Oh, and I was going to mention Armored Angel as well. This card was very effective in a lot of people's decks, assuming you could get it down, not die. I could just eat up a creature often and then start attacking back for damage. And again, the best removal in the format being Flagrant Foul, right? Grudge Match is hard to deal with this card. There were like other cards, like Shock, doesn't deal with this very well. So there were things like that that made it so that Armored Angel was an effective threat compared to how it is in more traditional gameplay. So yeah, that is why I decided on Teferi. And Teferi, I think we looked back or we did the math or whatever and figured out that Teferi did not lose a single game. Or I didn't lose a single game with Teferi throughout this tournament. So this was absolutely the correct call. I think a lot of people were not prepared to fight against this deck. So yeah. So my order for the tournament was Garruk, Teferi, and then Kiora. So again, as I said, like Garruk was definitely good in just being consistent. Could sometimes beat people down, or could just like start like killing stuff and play a mid-range game plan. And then Kiora was really good for again just if people thought it was the best, cool. Like a lot of people were putting it first. And so I don't believe I played a bunch of mirrors. I think I only played like one or two towards the end. And so that was a nice thing. And yeah, and then just like Teferi, getting to be kind of in the middle and just often getting, well, I guess in this tournament, often just getting me to game 3. So yeah. So I'm pretty happy with my deck choices. I think again, especially Teferi, a lot of people we were having some discussions, and some people were saying, "I'm not sure if Teferi is the best," and I was like, "Okay," and I just win the tournament with it. So that feels pretty cool. Yeah, other powerful planeswalkers that you could have taken to into this tournament was Vraska. Vraska did a lot of stuff, although I'll point out one important note here in that where is it? Vraska's Grub got nerfed to 2 mana, and they did not adjust the structure deck or the starter deck. I keep saying structure deck because I'm used to like talking about like Yu-Gi-Oh or like things like Pokemon or things like that. Right? So like Grub used to be like in the 1-drop slot here. Now they're just down like 2 good 1-drops. So like their best turn 1 play is like probably Throne, which is not really threatening initially. So yeah, a lot of people chose Vraska thinking that it's going to be great, and it was pretty good, but I actually don't think it's as good as people think it is. That might be a hot take. Obviously, like Turn to Stone is good, but like also Dark Gladiator got nerfed. So like there's a couple of cards that are just like not as good. Also, I think Death Speaker Naga got nerfed, right? Or got changed, right? This used to add a random zombie, I thought, or at least I thought. But I could be wrong. I always thought that this added a random zombie, not just like a 2/2. But anyways, that was one. I think some people did have Vivian. Vivian seemed fine. Just efficient creatures. I don't think Vivian Arcbow performed that well. You just have like fine creatures. Eject being in your deck is kind of bad. What else? I don't think people played Angrath. I don't think people played Sorin. I forget if I played against Kaya at all. Maybe I played against a Kaya, but yeah, I think it was mostly. I think might have also been some Nahiris. I'll have to look at. We'll look through when we go into the bot, but there were definitely stuff like that. But I don't think I saw, and I maybe I played against Ingrath or something like that. But yeah, or sorry, other thing, Liliana. Liliana was also seen sometimes because just playing Goliaths and hulking zombies, just good sometimes. Yeah, and they have Drain Blood, right, and Flagrant Foul, so those are kind of fine removal. Yeah, this was also a fine choice. I would not, think twice about running something like this. I'm wondering what else people ran. I don't think people ran Drizzt because Drizzt, is reliant on having legendaries, and it has only no legendaries other than the Hero's Call. So, in my opinion, this deck's pretty bad. I think some people ran Domri. Domri's probably fine because it's just, again, kind of like Vivian, just playing out creatures and beating face. Yeah. Ashiok and Davriel, not good at all. Ashiok, I was trying to play Ashiok because everybody knows I'm a big fan of that. Absolutely zero ways to generate cards from outside the game besides the Death Speaker Naga and Extract Fear. Other than that, there's absolutely nothing that generates nightmares. So completely unplayable in my opinion. No reason to play this deck. It's kind of the same thing with Davriel, where the multicolored cards that they're running are pretty bad. You have things like Shock, you have things like Forest Patrol, Thwack, which is pretty bad. Right, so none of these cards were really impressive to me, and then the rest of the cards are just kind of mid. So yeah, would not be looking to play this deck either. Yeah. Sarah, I think also kind of didn't impress me. Yeah, like they're running men, they're running Smite the Monstrous, things like that. So yeah, so there were definitely some clear, like, this Planeswalker's fine, the Garriks and the Kiors of the world versus, like, yeah, the Drizzt and the Sarahs of the world. So yeah. That being said, I don't know if they necessarily need to change some of the structure, or the starter decks. Maybe like a small update. So like, yeah, probably like updating Vraska a little bit to do something. Now that some of the cards have gotten nerfed, and just some other things like that. Maybe updating them, maybe changing them around, adjusting them a little bit would be interesting. But generally speaking, I thought there were still a fun games, which we'll go into, and I would be totally fine playing in another starter deck tournament. I don't know if I would do anything differently. It's kind of hard to say since I won, but yeah, I think that's all I'm going to talk about for my deck choices. I think the results kind of speak for themselves. But yeah, we're going to talk about, or we're going to go over some gameplay now. I don't know if I'm going to do like every single match, but maybe I'll try and go over some key moments. But let's just go to that. And we'll figure it out. All right, so we're going to go over definitely some of the earlier matches, and then obviously like the finals. They streamed I believe the semifinals, and then, or one of them only, right? And then I don't know which one they actually ended up showcasing, but and then obviously they showcased the finals. So I don't need to go too depth into that, but I did want to definitely showcase my kind of journey throughout the tournament, because if you didn't watch this live, twitch.tv/Ruxor098, by the way, there was actually some really interesting moments that ended up happening. So yeah, first match, as I said, against LOL QOP, playing against Vivian here. So it's going to be a pretty creature oriented matchup, and things go like pretty standard until I forget to think about a very particular card, which we'll showcase. So I'm gonna skip through most of this. I'm just kind of going back and forth. I do end up making a pretty hefty flyer here through the ability, which is kind of nice, and also through, I believe, Briarhorn. or something like that. So, that's going pretty well. They have their own Briarhorn to make their flyer large, which is kind of a problem for me. They also have this thing with Relentless, which is a problem. But we start to make this guy big, and I'm thinking like, oh, we're all set. I have lethal very soon, and right, so we almost have lethal with the Briarhorn, but unfortunately they have a reach creature, so they're able to block. But I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. We'll just kill them next turn. And unfortunately, they have a certain card known as Overrun. And so I was not thinking about this card, but mostly because I did not look at the actual lists. So there you go. They play Overrun. I don't have enough stuff to block. I'm not dead. Or sorry, I have no way to block and not die, so I'm clearly dead. So yeah, I wasn't thinking of that, and so pretty much right from there, I was like, okay, I need to immediately go and make a mental note of which decks have Overrun in them, and also since now like deck lists are essentially public knowledge, it's because they're the starter deck, so everybody knows what's in them. Right. I immediately start the game plan of, I'm going to look for specific cards that I need to watch out for from lists that I might not be familiar with, or lists that aren't my own. Right. And that will come up in some of the other games, right? I start making notes of which decks have Flagrant Foul, which I believe was all the black decks. Right, but things like that. Not all decks had Drain Blood and things like that. So like, yeah. So that was definitely something that I incorporated going forward. So then we play the Teferi versus Vraska matchup. So as I said, their best play is a Throne. I'm playing out things like Elite Vanguard and Turtle early. So there's the Grub. So I think a game goes pretty standard for the most part. Here we don't get a great card off of our Teferi staff, but we just get Call to Win, which is fine. We're able to keep our life total high throughout the game. And eventually, we get an interesting trap in Giant Growth, which will make our bird bigger. And so from that point on, we were able to keep the ground at bay while also getting in for damage in the air. I think, yeah, this seems like a fine block. And, right, we're stifling our opponent's aggro while the Giant Growth allowing our bird here to attack in for 6 every turn was really, really strong. Also, you see the element of Teferi's ability here, keeping our opponent's card pool, our opponent eventually is running out of cards here while we still have 5 cards in hand, one of them being Teferi's staff, which is really, really good. So I think the game goes on and goes pretty fine until Blood Crazed Vampire comes down. Hey, remember when I said that it's really, really good when you have cards that generate cards from outside the game because you have the potential of getting a really, really strong rare. So they got this off of the Vraska's Throne, which is insanely strong because it's going to make 2 more Blood Crazed Vampires in the hand when it dies. So if the game went on and on and on, this would be really difficult for me to deal with. And I'm instantly thinking, oh my gosh, I lost the first game. I'm about to lose the second game. I can't deal with because I can't deal with these Blood Crazed Vampires. But somehow, and I don't know how, we make it through. I don't know here. They made a strange play where they had a little bit more mana, but they don't attack or deploy any more threats. So this kind of confused me. I need a little bit of a small misplay here where I didn't block with the Angel to get my beginner's luck going. I was like just thinking, oh, I don't want to kill this, but in reality, it's going to die anyways. It's better to just get the +4 or +2 +3, but it didn't really ended up mattering. We'll also see, I think, again, they end up playing Overrun here, but now I'm prepared for it. Because I end up, I think the game keeps going and we end up stunning. We do get the buff, by the way, onto the Armored Angel eventually. So the Armored Angel being a really good threat We do end up stunning the Trask, and we end up absorbing this, and then I think they play Overrun here, if I remember correctly. Right. Yeah, so here's the Overrun, right? And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I didn't end up stun this Trask, we would have for sure have been dead. So yeah, and then so we're able to block everything here, survive, and then just attack in the air for lethal. So I was absolutely flabbergasted at the end of this game. I could not believe that we won this. And I will say I got pretty lucky here, because I thought we were dead as soon as I saw Blood Crazed Vampire. And then I think the last matchup was just the Kyoramir. And so here I'm kind of taking again the role of trying to be as aggressive as possible to get their life total as low as I can. This hand is really nice, by the way, just having again the efficient creatures plus shell game. So game proceeds as normal, but you'll notice that eventually my opponent plays a Sylvan Shrine, which gives them the mana advantage. The mana is a really big, important thing in this matchup, or really just in Kiora games in particular. That's what makes them effective. So yeah, they play out Octo Pummeler, we play out our own. Game proceeds as usual, just people playing out big creatures. Board kind of gets a little bit gummed up. They deploy, shoot, I always forget the name of these Leviathans, but the big one that buffs the team up. And we're able to shell game this. And the game proceeds more. And eventually we get our own Leviathan in the sneak one, which would put our opponent to 4, which is really awesome. But we end up playing the Komodos first because now our board is way superior to our opponents. We're able to trade with pretty much everything except for this Mega Piranha. Although again, the Archimedes coming down, sorry, whatever it is, Archimedes, whatever. So now we can grudge match the Mega Piranha, and now our opponent has basically no good trades here. We can just start attacking in. So yeah, being able to shell game the big guy, or their first big Leviathan was really effective, and then we just kind of outvalued our opponent from there. Tinny, not a really effective card now that we have a lot more mana than we usually do. And here most people might say, oh, you should trade here, but actually I have a Drag Under in my hand and a charge left on my Isochron Scepter. So now we just have lethal. We drag under one of them and we stun the other one. Note that I still am playing around, what if they don't die somehow? What if I mess up? And I'm choosing to not put the Tinny back in their deck because obviously don't want to play them again. But yeah, we end up winning this match 2-1 pretty closely. There were a lot of ways that this matchup could have gone wrong. All right, so our next matchup was against Kiriyama the Llama. Amazing name, by the way. I like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, amazing. And we were playing Garrick against Vraska this time. So I think, again, things are mostly pretty standard. Oh, sorry, no. Things are not standard, where we do end up trading Tuskers, but I actually am using the ability to good effect this time, trading off a creature and then using it to bump up the Baloth. Opponent playing out a Naga here, and I think I'm going to immediately use one of the 2 Flagrant Fouls in my hand and just play this aggro game. We're going to pump up the Baloth to an 8-power Trampler now. Our opponent is already down to 14. That's a huge threat already. So yeah, pretty amazing showing for the Baloth here. Here I realize I believe that I can grudge match one of the elves and then Fury, Wildspeaker's Fury, the Grub, and my opponent can't profitably block this either. Right, so we're gonna, do I pump this up? Oh yeah, I guess I just decide, oh, sorry, yes, I decided that actually this plus Courtly Killer just kills them. Because I can play this out, and then next turn, Flagrant Foul or Wild Speaker's Fury, whatever they play, and as long as they don't kill this, they're dead. Unfortunately, they have that, which is rough. But yeah, it would have been really, really good if we were able to kill their guys there. I thought that was the end of the game, but I guess not. But now they're in such a bad position where they're already at 5 health and we're at 26. Let's see what else they play. I mean, here we're just able to just attack them down. They're forced to block here with both. Sorry, they're forced to block with both, and then sorry, I'm gonna back up. We decide to pump this up, which might have been a mistake, because they end up playing the Dark Gladiator. And so now we're kind of like, man, what do we do? But now we top deck this Curse Predator, which was fantastic. It was a very easy 2-for-1, right? It kills the Grub, it kills the Gladiator. And then we play the Glade Cover Scout after that. And so now we have 2 lethal threats staring down our opponent here. So you can already see how Garrick can threaten games. And then we pop up the Glade Cover Scout just in case they play a 4-powered creature, or 4-health creature that would kind of make it difficult to block. So they play out 3 creatures here, but we top deck a Briarhorn, which is nice to help one of these creatures live through the attacks. So now they are forced to block both, and then, right, we should attack with both, right? Oh, I guess. Oh no, sorry. I'm playing correctly here because they have now to produce a creature, otherwise they're dead. No reason to use the ability here, I realize, because again, any amount of damage just kills them. And I don't know what they draw here, but I don't know if it's good. We don't end up blocking. Actually, do we end up blocking? This is a very close call here because it removes a blocker, but it gives them a card, so they might top deck removal, or they might top deck another creature. We decide to just take the damage, end up Flagrant Fouling. We top deck a removal spell to win the game. Cool. So the next matchup was Teferi versus Liliana. Don't remember exactly how this one went, but I believe we'd play out the Welkin turn here, and then they Drain Blood it. Yep. And then we just play the Steed as a 3/3. But our hand otherwise is pretty solid. We have 2 copies of Frostlings and 2 copies of Armored Angel, both of which are pretty effective creatures. And we also get this Transparent Hallway, which is nice because I love me creatures that draw me cards, and that's essentially what this card does. Right, and actually, here's a good way to showcase again both the power of Teferi Staff generating cards from outside the game and our opponent not playing around traps. So we're going to play the Teferi's Acolyte here, play the Transparent Hallway, and our opponent is not going to think about this. They're going to think, oh, I'm safe to attack into this. Actually, I think they remove this. Don't they remove this creature? Yeah, they Flagrant Foul it, thinking, I'm going to be able to attack safely. Boom, Transparent Hallway, block their guy. This is, again, quintessential to why Teferi was effective in this tournament, because no one is thinking about that kind of trap interaction. I believe I end up taking mana short here because I end up using that this game, I believe. Yeah. And then we just set up that and call the wind, hoping that they enable it. They actually don't. They use all their mana. Fun fact, mana short does not activate if your opponent has no mana left at the end of their turn. So otherwise that would be a really bad card. We end up playing out our Armored Angel here after they've used a Drain Blood and they've used a Flagrant Foul. So the most that they can do is use their last Flagrant Foul on this, in which case we'll have another Armored Angel. And you've already heard me talk about how effective this card can be when our opponent is out of removal. So they play Goliath, but as you can see here, I'm not worried about this Goliath at all. I've got a bunch of good blockage here. I've even got a shields up to make it difficult. We end up Drain Blooding our flyer here, not a big deal. Right, we just get to eat up this flyer. And we're smooth sailing from this point on, right? Our opponent is out of cards. They have 1 card in hand. We've got 5 cards of them. Pretty much all of them are good. We're also about to activate our ability here. Skip through our turn here. So I think this is the turn where we set up Mana Short and we just get to go off. I think they play out something here and just pass with, I think, like 6 mana. We'll skip the turn a little bit. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I think they just play out the Die Hard Fan and then just pass. Our Mana Short steals 6 of their mana, which is awesome. Also drawing us 2 cards. So yeah, we end up drawing Absorb, which is really nice in case our opponent draws something really good. I think we end up getting rid of something effective. This has, the other side of Relentless, meaning it can't block. So we're just free to just attack with everything and start turning the corner, as one might say, on our opponent. We've successfully drained our opponent of resources, and it's just going to be smooth sailing from here. I don't even remember. Yeah, we absorbed something. I just don't remember. Like we just have an embarrassment of riches. I just don't remember. I think it is the big zombie. Attack like this, we are good to just shields up our angel here on the Goliath, I believe. Yep. And I'm not including the sound, by the way, guys, because it would be too weird. I feel like having two of me talking. So just to make it simple. Oh, no, so it was the Fearsome return, which is also really good because that would have gotten probably the Goliath or something big back from the yard. So, yep, our opponent seeing the writing on the wall, conceding the game, just kind of saving time. So, yeah, Teferi takes it down. It was a quick 2-0 victory, but it was definitely some good games. So, GG's. So, at this point, we are in top 8. We're playing our first match in the top 8 against Fragster. So feeling pretty good, already pretty like satisfied, by the way. Like I wasn't really going in being like, yeah, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna get first place. I was, just kind of happy to be there, but yeah, pretty exciting to be in the top 8 here and just feeling good. Another nice thing was that they also kind of did a good job of giving us breaks. So, that was nice, both because they had to do like some technical stuff. They were figuring out some things there, here and there. So, I definitely think that, again, it'll get better. It'll be better than the next couple of tournaments. So, yeah. So here we are actually playing against Chandra. I'm glad I remember that, or seeing that there was stuff other than just like Garrick, Kiora, Vraska. And matchup is pretty standard. They don't actually play anything on 3. And by the way, I know that they don't have any traps like Molten Misstep, so I'm fine to do this attack here. So game proceeds as usual. Get to get in for 6 here, which is nice. We still have a Predator and 2 Courtly Killers to follow up. Unfortunately, get slightly blown out here by Flame Shot, but it's fine. And I think here they play the Reflective Golem, which I was really, really worried about. But yeah, because I'm like wasn't really sure what we would do about this. We can block something and have the Verdant Predator. I think I end up using the ability to pump up the Baloth. No, I pump up. Why do I make this play? Looking back, I would have probably put it on here and then used the Predator to snipe this for 5. Oh, sorry, no, never mind. This is the weakest, so it actually will work. Because if they just like play to any creature, so they end up playing some creatures. We use the Flagrant Foul to get rid of. We make a really cool play here, and we use the Flagrant Foul to get rid of that, so that we can attack with the Baloth, and they're forced to either trade chump with the Goblin Shortcutter or block with their Reflective Golem, which is a fine transaction for us. So we're actually kind of hoping that they make this trade here. We'll still get in for 3 damage. But they end up not blocking at all, which is kind of fine with us, because again, we can just deploy out this Courtly Killer. So again, here we're kind of trying to get in for what damage we can, or get in for decent attacks while still keeping our life total high and keeping our board presence there. So I think we we do end up making the block on this Reflective Golem, but taking the 4 damage, so that we can still have some pressure. I think our play here is we get a good old 2-for-1 with the Predator. So we get rid of both of those, but we still get to get in for good damage with our Baloth. I think it's better to not do this. I guess no. We get in for more damage here, I guess. Oh yeah, this is just lethal. Playing Garruk is complicated. It seems easy, but the +2, where you put the +2/-1 is relevant. So yeah, here we're able to just Flagrant Foul, and to to make matters worse, we talked to Briarhorn, so it's just sick beats for the Courtly Killer. So next up, we actually so here's I'm glad we get to showcase again that it wasn't just Kiora and Vraska all the way. We get to play against Nahiri here. So Frag Strike is going with the red deck theme, red deck wins theme. Our hand is pretty fine to start off. We've got some good defensive creatures, and we've got Teferi Staff. But they have a pretty aggressive first couple of plays with the Spirit, and then buffing it up, and then playing the forgetting the name of this card, the Sword Master or something like that. So they don't end up blocking here. They're just gonna probably keep buffing up Spirit or playing. I think they play. What do they end up playing here? Oh no, they end up buffing this, which was strange. Oh right, because they have the Outburst. Never mind. It was not strange at all. It was just good. We make the conservative play of blocking and keeping our life total high. And we top deck a Shields Up, which is huge because we get to use both the Call the Winds. Sorry, not both. We get to use we get to block this, and then we get to use Call the Wind. We'll have Shields Up for a later play. Yeah, man, this card was so much better when it just made the trap free, but oh well. So here we're gonna make the trade with, or at least attempt to make the trade with the card that we can trade for, but they have a Shields Up, which is fine. We get another creature at the end of the turn, and we're also we're not 1 trap away, we're 2 traps away from activating our ability. I think here we just get another Call the Wind. I don't think. Oh, sorry. Actually, Prep Talk is better here because it resummons the card. So we get 2 blocks. It's also 2 mana, so it's castable with the Teferi's Acolyte. Yeah, that aspect of Prep Talk was not one that I was thinking of, where you can block, have it die, and then have it block again. They shock our guy, but it comes right back. Fast forward through this a little bit. What happened here? So we attack, our opponent makes some blocks here. Or sorry, they attack, we make some blocks here, again, to keep our life total high. And we do that because we have Frostlinks in hand, which we can use to slow down the board. So here we're going to do Beginner's Luck, Frostlinks, I think the flyer, right? Yeah. And then use Shields Up in Beginner's Luck to make our Frostlinks very, very large. Sorry, I think my computer did a weird for a moment. So here we're going to block the 4/1. Have our Shields Up proc, draw some cards. And yeah, and we're kind of almost back in the game. We're still at a pretty healthy life total. And we're also kind of good to attack with this Frostlings now. Let's fast forward just a little bit now because we're kind of knowing where we're at. So yeah, they're unable to make some good attacks here. We're able to just block those with whatever creatures we can. I think we chump with some things. Yeah, we chump with the turn on this, eat up the militia guy, continue playing, and now we're able to hold up 3 relevant traps, the Ready to Rumble, the Beginner's Luck, and the Call the Wind. So we're going to be drawing 2 more cards here, so you can already see that card advantage starting to take over the game. Yada yada, opponent attacks. So I think here, yeah, we figure out the best blocks. I think it is against the Cannoneer, and then having this block that... Is that true? No. This is some complicated math going on about what the best player is. I think, yeah, I agree with that, and then I agree with that, as if I'm going to disagree with my own plays. The one thing here is that I probably should have put blocked first with the Geist, because the buff going on the Geist is probably better. I think I noted that even here, that it was a mistake. Excuse me. So our opponent hand is empty. We have still 3 cards. We're about to draw another one. We also have 3 more traps in our hand. So like we're going to be drawing cards again at some points. Here, we are making these attacks because our opponent was not going to be able to block with their flyer. If they wanted to block our flyers, they decide not to do that. Yeah. So I think we get some kind of... So first of all, we get a nice disorient off into these creatures. We get to make some good blocks. Our life total is pretty low at this point, so... yeah, I forget. They definitely play something. Oh, right, it's the Armored Angel. Huge counter. This card would have been impossible for us to deal with if we didn't get that absorb off. So that like pretty much secured the rest of the game for us, because now we have our own Armored Angel. Our opponent blocks their 4/1 with our 4/1 with their 4/1. We play out just the rest of our cards and hold up this absorb. And that's pretty much the rest of the game. I'm not sure what else happens here. Yeah, they shock this, they pump that up. I think we do end up making this block, because otherwise we'd be at a very low life total. But I think we top deck another one, or top deck like more stuff here. The Steed is actually perfectly serviceable, getting to deal 4 damage here. Oh, I think this is a game where we top deck the Rhino, and we just play the Rhino as a 5/5. Yep, so attacking with the 6/1. The Disorient here, proccing, not really the most impressive card. I don't really know what other... I don't remember if they had played another Minotaur, so like maybe I was hedging against that. But yeah, here we just top deck a Rock's Pit Fighter, and are fine to just say, hey, you know, let's just run that out as a 5/5 and start beating down our opponent with it. We have another absorb for our opponent's big flyer here, counter it, and we have lethal on board already. So there we go. Teferi once again securing the win. Mostly through card advantage. Look, we have 3 cards on board. Our opponent has 0 cards on board, 0 cards in hand. I think that's a pretty good argument for Teferi right there. All right, so here is our match, our first semifinal, or our semifinal match against Knight. My camera, sorry, I put my camera in the wrong position because I think I had the wrong scene open, so sorry about that. But you don't need to see my face. This face is the one that matters, not that one. That one. So game starts off pretty normal. We're just playing out threats. We make a 4/4 baboon, and the baboon does baboon things and beats the baboon beats the bananas. I don't know. Insert monkey joke. Let's see. And so we're just trying to, again, play as aggressive as possible. They play at the archer. I think we're gonna flagrant foul the archer if I had to guess. Boom, I'm psychic. And then we'll pump up the courtly killer. And as you can see, our opponent's already going to be at 14 at the very least. I think they make the block with the fish. Yep. Yeah. So good stuff. Things are going pretty well. They do play this Komodo dragon or Komodo dragon, whatever it is. The which has wards, so we can't just Wild Speaker's Fury it. But we make a smart play with the Infuser here, where now we attack with our 6/3 Courtly Killer, and so they can't just chump or they can't just trade with their Elvish Archer. So then we can play another Courtly Killer, buff that up again, and yeah, you can, again, this is my whole thing, is you can see how Garrick functions in these kind of mid-rangey matchups, or even it doesn't even really feel like mid-range. It feels like I'm beating them down pretty hard here. So I'm trying to figure out here the best attack. You can see me as I like, you can't hear me, but you can see me kind of fiddling around with the board, trying to figure out, should I attack, first? Should I not attack with my Courtly Killer? I decide against that. I think I'm just down to get in for 5 damage here, and then just play out some dudes. I think just playing out the 3 drops, and I'm just like, let's just call it a day, right? Yeah, because my opponent's at 9 here, so like, yeah, I think that's what we end up deciding. Yep, again, psychic. I'm sorry, we also pump up the Baloth with the ability. So I forget what they end up doing here. I also think, don't we tap take a Flagrant Foul and just win? I think that's what I remember happening here. Yeah, so they play the Mega Piranha and just attack, and we're like, okay, fine. No, okay, so we end up just killing this thing and then pumping up, I think, the Elvish, yeah, or the Elvish Infuser, in which case they can block the 2 5-powered creatures and they still take 10 damage, and there we go. That's lethal on turn 7, well before Kiora can do any major things. So I'm not sure if they even end up, oh no, they didn't end up ramping because they had the same amount of mana as us. So yeah, really just beating Kiora down before they can do anything relevant. So pretty simple matchup there. And then next we have Teferi versus Vraska. This is a fine matchup, in my opinion. Again, especially since they don't do anything early. We're able to play out our Vanguard. I guess they can have a 2-drop here. I don't remember if they do. Yeah, they end up draining blood, but that's fine, because now, basically here I'm saying I need to just beat them down in the air and not care about blocking. And here, again, Disorient being a much better card than I think people give it credit for. We're able to get in for 3 with the Welkin turn and then hold up this Disorient. Our opponent's going to attack thinking, hey, yeah, I got this attack, it's free. But we just get to eat their creature. And they just use a Drain Blood, by the way, so like this block here is pretty safe. The odds that they have a second Drain Blood in their hand right now is very, very unlikely. So I don't remember exactly what our play here is. I think we just hold up this Absorb. We're just like satisfied to just continue attacking. Is that true? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not sure if it's good to attack with the Steed here or not. You can kind of go both ways on it. But yeah, I forget what we end up sniping. Do we end up sniping a P-Foul here? Do they even have P-Foul? I'm like, it's been like 2 seconds and I already forget the P-Foul deck. Or sorry, I already forgetting like some of the lists. But yeah, they don't end up triggering our Absorb here, but that's actually fine, again, because they're not putting insane pressure on us. All they have on board right now is 2 measly ghouls, which don't even attack profitably. So here I'm fine to just replay the shell turtle, or sorry, replay the absorb, and also deploy a turtle. And here I make the attack with the steed now because I'm going to deploy another creature. I think I was a little wary of trading the steed off, or trading off its health when I might want it to stick around in case I need it to block something bigger. I think they play the Dark Gladiator here, and that gets sniped. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Yep. Okay, they play that with the Dark Gladiator. Yep, bye. I love doing that when our opponent plays directly into a trap. Now, it's unclear to me. I think they were saying that they had to play into it. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know what the other cards in their hand were, but yeah. And now they just have nothing to block with. We're gonna get to draw 2 more cards, and you can it's just not looking close at all. This is just looking super dominant. Again, yeah, most people aren't ready for just Teferi to just beat you down. Yeah, this Naga not really going to do anything here. They don't even end up attacking, so we don't have to use the shields up, but we still get to use our air elemental to draw. Not air elemental. Is it air elemental? It's the bird. The bird. We can actually even stun down this Frostlings and get in for even more damage. And actually, that's just lethal. I think I also didn't even realize in this moment that I was lethal. I was ready for the game to go way longer than that. What turn was that? That was also turn 7. So you can see, even with these value generating decks, or mid-range mindset, I'm still just eliminating my opponent super early. And yeah, another 2-0 victory, also being closed out by Teferi. So yeah, and I think Knight was one of the people, maybe one of the other people that were bashing Teferi. So this felt like karmic justice, but obviously no bad blood. But it's more of just I brought Teferi to the event. Everyone was calling him bad, and I'm like, I'm gonna prove you wrong, and I did. Yeah, let's go to the finals. All right, so here we are in the finals. I'm feeling really good. To give you a sense of my mindset, I kind of am more feeling really confident in my deck choices, in my play decisions. So yeah, feeling really good. But obviously, K2 is also in the finals. They have to be pretty confident as well. So yeah, starting off, I had a decent hand, and then I top deck a Baloth. So my curve is looking awesome. If you're unfamiliar with the curve, that's where you play a 1-mana card on turn 1, 2-mana card on turn 2, 3-mana card on turn 3, and a 4-mana card on turn 4. So as you can see, our hand just naturally does that without having to do anything special. I buff up the Gladecover Scout here because I assume that my opponent is going to block it anyways. If they decide not to, then I just get in for 3 more damage. Right. So they end up not blocking for some reason, I guess because they want their stuff to die on their turn. So that's fine. If they attack me, I'm also not sure if I'm making the block because, again, I don't want them getting the mana. So yeah, that's fine. We end up not blocking. So we're just kind of going past each other a little bit for now. I end up attacking with the Curse Bearer. If they end up making the block here, again, I'm fine with that because it denies them another mana. Playing out the Baloth here. And yeah. Let's see what they end up doing here. I think they just, oops, skip too far ahead. Yeah, they end up sacking their grub, so they get 2 fragile mana, and then they end up playing the Tusker. So pretty scary looking board here. Actually, we make a. Yeah, I think we do end up attacking with this Baloth because it allows us to block with the Peafowl if we are able to, or just block with the Curse Bearer. I think that's the correct play. I guess it was a line that we could have taken. I think we just make the decision to hold up line here. So there were a couple of different ways that it could have taken that turn. I think in the finals here, maybe taking a more careful approach or conservative play. But yeah, they end up flagrant fouling our guy, which actually allows us to kind of make the play that I was going to make anyways of having the Baloth fight the Grotesque. So it works out. And yeah, so here we can play out the Glade Cover Scout and the P-Foul, pumping up our Glade Cover Scout so that now our board lines up pretty well against our opponent. We have a 3-powered thing that can trade with the Tusker, and then we have a 2-powered thing that can trade with the Grotesque, and I'm perfectly fine doing that since the P-Foul will come back to our field. See what they end up doing. So they just end up playing a P-Foul and a Throne. We end up blocking. Sorry, we end up attacking and our P-Fouls end up trading, but I have another P-Foul, and we use that to pump up our P-Foul and our Curse Bearer. So feeling pretty good in this spot. Our opponent's Grotesque and Tusker can't really attack profitably here. So yeah. I don't remember what they got going on here. Oh, right. Turn to stone on our Curse Bearer, which is kind of strange considering that we had this P-Foul. So yeah, I think I was fine to just not have this block the P-Foul, maybe block, have some stuff block the Grotesque and the Tusker here since those are larger. And again, we're kind of fine with our opponent attacking in for 2. Oh, they actually don't even... Sorry, I remember this. Yeah, they were opponent deciding to make some conservative plays as well. Again, both of us not trying to do anything too crazy, which makes sense. What do I end up doing here? I think I do something with the Infuser, maybe pump up the P-Foul. Because we can... Yeah, we can do that, and then Infuser on the P-Foul because they can't block it. Or do we just play out the Dreadmaw? Yeah, but both of those plays are fine. I think the Colossal Dreadmaw is like maybe me trying to close out the game a little bit faster. But yeah, also notably our opponent not activating their Throne because they're kind of worried about blocking and you know, what you got off the throne could be random. It could be like 3 really bad creatures. So I think they just are fine with working with what they have on board already. Although they have the School, they could just sack the School. So attacking with the 2/2, we're fine letting that go. We are currently winning the race if these birds just keep attacking each other. Or sorry, keep attacking the opponents. So they do end up sacking something here. Yeah, again, I think the Ghoul would be a little bit better just to generate a card. Like, they're not blocking with that anytime soon, probably. I guess they might have been using it to keep the Glade Cover Scout back, but yeah, let me move forward and see what they end up doing. So they end up playing another P-Foul here, and they drain blood one of ours. So now our flying presence is a little bit weakened. But we just start attacking with stuff. I think we Infuser the Dreadmaw, right? So that it can't just block with the Grotesque. That's pretty good. Yep, so they trade the P-Fouls. I think once again, we're going to probably activate the ability on our own P-Foul. That was an interesting thing, like relentless creatures, like P-Foul and something like that might be pretty good in Garruk going forward, but I don't know, might not be that good. So we play out our Baboon, and then I think we pump up the P-Foul again. Yep. And yeah, so our board state is pretty threatening now. We're whittling down our opponent's creatures. Again, they still aren't kind of excited about activating their Throne. We're at a higher life total still, even with these P-Fouls hitting us in the face. All right, let's see. Let's move through this a little bit. So yeah, I think the game just kind of proceeds as normal, and then we just start attacking in. Now that we flagrant fouled. Oh right, that's what happened. We flagrant fouled the Tusker, and now our opponent doesn't have anything to block our Dreadmaw profitably. So just attacking in. Opponent might make some blocks here, but yeah, going down to 3, and then they basically just have no way to get or to survive the next turn, since all of their stuff had Relentless. So some of the downsides of Relentless showing its hands there. Yeah, we can even grudge match some of the finale creatures that they started making here. And as you see, like, yeah, like they ended up getting the cocoon off of the throne. So like that is not great. So yeah, Garrick taking out Vraska. So clearly the better Golgari Planeswalker. I'm just kidding. Now let's talk about the last game, right? Because I think this was also, the finals was a 2-0 victory because Teferi took out Liliana here. And so immediately, I'll tell you, I think I talk about it, up there as well, or up there, that direction. Where I am keeping this hand specifically because I think I'm looking at my mulligans and going, yep, I'm going to keep this hand. I'm going to mulligan this away. I get another one, which is fine. But my plan is I'm going to play out these flyers. I'm going to beat my opponent in the air. I'm going to play some traps maybe for tempo or disruption. And I'm not going to care about blocking my opponent's creatures. I'm going to beat them down in the air, and that's it. So they play out their diehard fan. We play out our turn. They play out some more dudes. We play out some blocking creatures, and we are still just attacking with our turn in the air every turn. See what I did there? See what I did there? Here we play out the ceremonial guard. Another play that we could have made there was the Teferi's Acolyte into Call the Wind. We can do that play any other time, including next turn, I believe. And so, yeah, the Ceremonial Guard just holding down the board a little bit better. Now, our opponent here making the play to shrink down our Ceremonial Guard, but an actually interesting play here would have been to shrink down the Welkin turn to slow down our pressure in the air, or just kill our turtle. So yeah, they end up attacking here, and we're fine to just like block. We notably don't block with turtle here because it's about to get a little bit bigger. So game keeps going on. And I remember how I'm holding up this absorb, and I'm also audibly saying like I want to avoid P-Fouls or any large relentless creatures that might be hard for me to deal with. So opponents got a huge slew of attackers coming in, but we have 5 creatures ready to block, and we have a decent amount of life total to work with. So I can make whatever blocks I determine to be the most efficient, right? So I think we end up just letting this 9 damage hit us and only making the most efficient blocks, the ones that kill our opponent's creatures and allow our creatures to survive. Now I think here is the turn where we do counter a P-Foul, right? Because that is crucial because it stops our flying aggression. And yep, there we go. Just snipe that creature straight to the graveyard. Do not collect any relentless benefit. And we even top deck an Armored Angel, which is gonna seal the nail in the coffin. There's pretty much, we have 5 creatures on board. Our opponent has 1 card in hand. 2 cards. Gonna have 2 cards in hand. 7 mana available. Maybe they can flagrant foul if they have it. I don't remember if they had used, I don't think they had used it earlier, so I guess they could have drawn it here. But even then, we have a really good board position. So yeah, I don't think they, because of this pause, I was pretty sure that they didn't have anything. They're emoting, so I'm feeling amazing here. Right there. If they don't have Flagrant Foul, there's absolutely no way that they can win the game from this point. So, yeah, as you can see, the game plan worked out super, super well. Just playing flyers, beating down in the air, and not really caring about our opponent's blockers. You know, a lot of people might have been really scared and made some conservative blocks, considering they didn't want to take so much damage. I'm deciding to stick to my guns, really stick to my gameplay. So here I do still need to make some blocks because it's just a lot of damage. I'm trying to play conservatively here. I don't know exactly what's in their hand, but note how I don't get rid of any of my flyers. I let the 5 damage hit me. I'm at 9 life. I'm feeling okay. And all they do is play a Dark Gladiator, which can only kill the 2/1 flyer, and we still have 9 power in the air. And there we go. That is the finals. That's how I won this tournament. Was pretty exciting. And it was also really cool to get like kind of interviewed after. I've never really had like a post tournament interview. That was awesome. It was great to talk to Long Tim and Tenkachi there, and yeah. And that, everyone, is how I got first place in the grand opening tournament for the official LGS Discord for MTG Spellslingers. So I have this role now in the Discord, so that's pretty cool. Also, so yeah, thanks everyone for everyone who ran this event. So I think yeah, as I said, Tenkachi, Long Tim, Boss of Blades, Tino, Karma, I think Wizard Supreme, anyone else. If I'm missing anyone, again, yeah, thank y'all. And if any of you watching are interested in playing in a Spellslingers tournament, or just testing your skills, or just conversing with the Spellslingers community, this is a great place to do that. So check that out. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it to this point in the video, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribing. I also stream Twitch regularly now, so Tuesdays and Thursdays starting around 8 p.m. Eastern time. I also think I might do some weekend streams anyways, especially if I'm doing tournaments anyways. So yeah, remember you can follow me there so you don't miss any action. That's twitch.tv/Roxora098. But yeah, that's going to do for me. Again, thank y'all for watching, and I will see you for more Spellslingers action very, very soon. Till then.